Goat Boy is inviting some people over to see the video premiere of the Goat Boy edited version. Oh, I am Goat Boy.
What do you want, Goat Boy? Big old smelly, shaggy thing.
Goat Boy is here to please you.
How?
Tie me to your headboard. Throw your legs over my shoulders and let me wear you like a feed bag. Hold on to my horns. Yes, my love.
You're a big old smelly thing. I need professional help at this point. I think I need a priest at this point. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned.
What have you done, my son?
Well, I said the word fuck gratuitously.
Yes, and what else, my son?
I lied.
Yes, and what else, my son?
That's about all. Oh, one thing. I keep thinking I'm a Randy Goat fucking everyone. Unless, of course, it's a woman priest, in which case it'll go like this.
Forgive me, Father, for what I'm about to do.
People ask me what I think about that woman priest thing. You know, what a woman priest, women priest. Great, you know. Now it's priest of both sexes I don't listen to. Fuck, I don't care. Have a hermaphrodite one. I don't fucking care. Have one with 3 dicks and 8 titties. I don't, you know, have one with gills and a trunk. That would be cool. I might go see that, you know, but... You know, I appreciate your quaint traditions and superstitions. I, on the other hand, am an evolved being who deals solely with the source of light which exists in all of our hearts. That middleman thing, it's wacky, and I appreciate it. Gotta run. There's a voice a-calling me. Now, you guys are totally weird sexually. Here's why. Oh, yeah. Coming from Goat Boy. Oh, boy. Yes, Bill. And how is that? That we have human sex? Does that bother you, Bill?
Goat Boy finds that disgusting. Where is the fun in that? Goat Boy loves young girls. 16 years old. Ooh, Goat Boy. Hello.
Hi, Goat Boy, you big old smelly thing. Ooh, you smell like an old boot.
I don't see you running away.
I'm not scared of you. Besides, your eyes are really kind and peaceful. Except for that fire that burns real far deep inside of them. Oh, Goat Boy, what's that?
That is my purple wand. And my hairy sack of magic.
You do tricks? What can you do with that?
Goat Boy can make a bell ring in your stomach.
What does that bell mean?
It calls Goat Boy to dinner.
Goat Boy! Okay, Bill, stop with the Goat Boy thing. We get it, all right? It's kind of amusing, but let's, okay.
You don't don't like Goat Boy? Goat Boy is hurt by your indifference. He wanted you to come dance with him in the pastures. Ding, ding, ding. Goat Boy wants to string flowers through your hair and on your head. Do, 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 do.
Why do you like young girls, Goat Boy?
Because you are beautiful. There's nothing between your legs. It's like a wisp of cotton candy framing a paper cut. Then you turn you around and open your cheeks. It's like a little pink quivering rabbit nostril. Oh, how cute. I bet your asshole tastes better than most girls' pussies. Come here.
Shaggy old thing. I'm not gonna kiss you. I don't know where your mouth's been.
Do you want me to tell you?
Okay, Bill, seriously, Goat Boy thing, it's getting weird.
Except for some of my goat children. More, Father, more Goat Boy, Father. We are your goat children. We too lay in the forest waiting for young virgins to come.
Some kids in my kids' class, I like some of those kids. Some of those kids are cool. They come over to my house, they play with I like them. Other kids I don't like, especially little boys. Little boys in my kids' class, I hate them. I hate little boys. I'm like the opposite of a pedophile. I just hate... There's one kid in my daughter's class who I hate so much. And it's really fucked up because I'm 44 and I hate a 6-year-old. I mean, I hate him with a grown-up, preoccupying hate. I've thought about him 3 times since I came out here. That's how much I really hate this kid. I'm gonna tell you about him, and I have to make up a name because he's a real child who lives in this city, so I have to make up a name in order to tell the story about him. His name is just Jizanthapus. Let's just call him Jizanthapus. Fine. Okay. He's in my daughter's class. They're in 1st grade. And when we take our kids to class, there's a little procedure. You bring your kid to school, and they have their backpack and their jacket, and they go to their cubby, and they take it all off, and they put it in the cubby. Then they take their the homework folder and their lunchbox and put them in the bins. It's those are their little responsibilities. You help them do it, so they'll blah, 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 blah. But Jizanthapus, when he comes in, he doesn't do none of that shit. He just walks in and just sheds it all. He just... And his mom, his weak piece of shit mom, picks it all up. I hate his mother. Because you hate a weak parent when you're a parent. Because it's like you're raising Hitler, motherfucker. Do your job. Get in there. If our parent group in our class were a platoon of soldiers, she'd be the one that we'd put soap bars and socks and... We'd frag that bitch in her sleep. She would wash right the fuck out. She wouldn't make it. When Jizanthapus drops his shit, this bitch picks it up. She doesn't, she just goes, I'm Jizanthapus. He does like you, I'm just doing things. I'll get it though, and then I'll put it all in the bins for him. And she puts it all away for him, which frees him up to punch other kids in the face. Because he's a shitty, horrible, violent child. One time I was at school, and I was volunteering at recess. It's something that you do, you know, if you're a good parent, about once a month or whatever it is, you go to school, and you just stand there, you watch recess, you masturbate, whatever you want to do. That is now the worst thing. That's the worst thing now. Now that's the worst thing I ever said. Okay. All right. Okay, we'll find it. I mean, you could. It's a public school. Nobody would even give a shit. But I haven't thus far. Hasn't gotten that bad. Anyway, I'm watching Recess, and Recess is a trip. If you've never been to Recess, it's intense because it's like the universe. Like, you know, if you watch the ocean crash waves on the beach for a long time, you start feeling like you're understanding how everything works. That's what Recess is like, because every natural chaotic energy is represented at Recess. There's kids swirling around in these big roiling crazy things. There's one kid just spazzing out, just as some singularity kid, just a binary system of two kids holding hands and they're running and just clotheslining every child at a certain height. They're keeping a uniform height to the playground. So I'm watching Recess and I see Jizanthapus and he's walking with this evil. This kid is like evil, stuck out of time. He's like, I always picture him in a gray fur coat with bones in it and lots of rings from people that he killed and just walking. And then I see my daughter and she's standing there just by herself. And there's Jizanthapus, and I know he's going for her. It was like an action movie thriller thing. Dun, 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 dun. And I think to myself, I gotta go there and I gotta protect her. But then I thought, let him do a little something first. Let him do just a little something because I want this kid in my life. I want a reason. I want aerial photos of him doing some shit to my family that I can bring to the UN and get authority to waterboard this little motherfucker. I want to get him on a flight to Venezuela with an envelope on his head and duct tape and all that shit. So anyway, he goes for her, grabs her arm, starts twisting it. She goes, nah! I run over. I'm just knocking kids over. I run, grab him. And I look in his little face and I go, listen to me, Jizanthapus. If you ever in your life touch her again. And as I'm doing this, I realize this is not cool that I'm doing this. This is totally inappropriate. It's really wrong. It's way over the top. It's too grown up. I mean, it's like he's a drug dealer in my building that I finally fucking... This ends now, motherfucker. I will cut you. I don't care. And he just starts crying pitifully, and I just walked away from him. I just got away. And then all the teachers, everybody that gathers around, what's wrong with you? And he's like, and he couldn't articulate it because he's not getting educated. Fuck him. I was there going, yeah, you could have told on me, bitch, but you're too stupid now, which is your own fault. You future ditch-digging piece of shit. Oh, I'm gonna love watching you grow up into nothing, motherfucker. I'm gonna watch it, and I'm gonna fuck your mom and not call her, too. I'm gonna ruin her summer. I'm gonna fuck your mom twice and then never call her. And I don't know your dad because he ran out on you, but I'm gonna find him, I'm gonna turn myself gay, and then I'm gonna fuck him too. I'm gonna suck his dick so good that he just has to change his whole life. And I'm gonna move into a place with him in the village for a couple of months, and totally he'll cut off ties to all his life and start wearing cutoffs that are really tight, and and then I'll go to some Christian turn you not gay place, and I'll come back and go, what's wrong with you, faggot, and make him feel bad inside. Like, what has he done? Well, you gotta protect your kids. You gotta protect them. You gotta protect your kids. You gotta do it, man. A lot of people talk the talk, but, you know. A lot of people say that shit. I would throw myself under a bus for my... Oh, yeah? Would you fuck another kid's dad and confuse him sexually and yourself sexually in the process? And use homophobia that you hate against another person just because some kid shoved your kid for a second? That's my baby girl. I gotta do it, son. I gotta suck that dick. That's my baby girl. I gotta do it for her. All right. All right. All right. I hate that child. That's what I'm trying to say.
Listen. Hey. I got a lot of good ideas. Balance the stupid fucking budget. Here's another idea. I'm going to save you a whole lot of money on prisons, but at the same time, we are still going to remove from society many of our more annoying citizens. 4 groups are going away permanently. First group, violent criminals. Here's what you do with these Emmy Award winners. You take the entire state of Kansas. You move everybody out. You give them a couple of $100 for their inconvenience, you know. Gotta be fair. And then you move them out, you put a big 10-story electric fence around Kansas, and Kansas becomes a permanent prison farm for violent criminals. No parole, no police, no supplies. The only thing you give them is lethal weapons and live ammunition so they can communicate in a meaningful way. Then you put the whole thing on cable TV. The Violence Network, VNN. And for a corporate sponsor, you get one of those companies that loves to smear its logo feces all over the landscape. Budweiser will jump at this shit in half a minute. All right, next group, sex criminals. Completely incurable, you gotta lock them up. You could outlaw religion, and most of these sex crimes would disappear in a couple of generations. But we don't have time for rational solutions. Much easier to fence off another rectangular state. Rectangular states are cheaper to fence, saves the taxpayers money, you know? This time, Wyoming. But only for true sex offenders. We're not going to bother consenting adults who like to dress up in leather Boy Scout uniforms and smash each other in the head with ball-peen hammers while they take turns blowing their cat. There's certainly nothing wrong with that. It's a victimless hobby. And think of how good the cat must feel. No, we're only going to lock up rapists and molesters. Those hopeless romantics who are so full of love they can't help getting a little of it on you. Usually on your leg. You take all these heavy-breathing fun seekers and you stick them in Wyoming. And you let them suck, fuck, and fondle. You let them blow, chew, sniff, lick, whip, gobble, and cornhole each other until their testicles are whistling, "Oh, come all ye faithful." Then you turn on the cameras and you got the Sperm Channel. And don't forget our corporate sponsor. We're going to let Budweiser put little logo patches on the rapist pants right here. This pud's for you. All right, next group, drug addicts and alcoholics. Not all of them, don't get nervous. Just the ones who are making life difficult for at least one other person. And we're not going to bother first offenders. People deserve a chance to clean up. Everyone will get 12 chances to clean up. Okay, all right, 15. That's fine, and that's it. If you can't make it in 15 tries, off you go to Colorado. A perfect place for staying loaded. Each week, all of the illegal drugs confiscated in the United States that the police and DEA don't keep for their own personal use will be airdropped into Colorado. And we're going to turn the Coors Brewery over to the beer-drinking assholes, and everyone can stay wasted, wired, stoned, bombed, hammered, smashed, and shit-faced round the clock on another new cable channel, Shit-Face Central. This is the real Rocky Mountain High. Okay, I've saved my favorite group for last. The maniacs and crazy people. Yeah. The ones who live out where the buses don't run. And I distinguish between maniacs and crazy people. A maniac will beat 9 people to death with a steel dildo. A crazy person will beat 9 people to death with a steel dildo, but he'll be wearing a Bugs Bunny suit at the time. So you can't put them all away. You know, you got to keep some of them around just for the entertainment. Like a guy who tells you the King of Sweden is using his penis as a radio transmitter to send anti-Semitic lesbian meatloaf recipes to Soupy Sales and Marvin Hamlish. A guy like that, you want to give him his own radio show. No, the Maniac Farm will be reserved strictly for hopeless cases, like a guy who gets a big tattoo on his chest of Liza Minnelli taking a shit. You know? And he tells you if he wiggles a certain way, it looks like she's wiping her ass, you know? A guy like that, you want to get him into custody as quickly as possible. Now, for the Maniac Farm, I think there's no question we got to go with Utah. Utah, easy to fence. Easy to fence, right next to Wyoming and Colorado is right next to Kansas, and that means all 4 groups of our most amusing citizens are now in one place, except for the big fences. And I think I have another one of my really good ideas for cable TV. Gates. Small sliding gates in the fences. Think of what you've got here. Think of what you've got. Predators, degenerates, crackheads, and fruitcakes. 900 miles of fence separating them. Every 50 miles, you put a small sliding gate. But the gates are only 10 inches wide, and they're only open once a month for 7 seconds. And you know something? Fuck cable. This shit has got to be on pay-per-view. Because if those gates are only open 7 seconds a month, you are going to have some mighty interesting people pushing and shoving to be first online. Deeply disturbed, armed, cranky lunatics on drugs. You know the ones. A lot of tattoos, a lot of teeth broken off at the gum line. The true face of America. And every time you open the gates, a few of the more aggressive ones are going to get through. The creme de la creme. The alphas. They're going to get through, they're going to find each other, and they're going to crossbreed. And pretty soon you have a melting pot. Child killers, corpse fuckers, drug zombies, and full-blown wackaloons. Wandering the landscape in search of truth and fun. Just like now. Everyone will have guns, everyone will have drugs, and no one will be in charge. Just like now. But at least we'll have a balanced budget. Thank you.
All right. This is how it works with guys. Anytime you do anything remotely sensitive, heartwarming, anything that's gonna make you more of a loving, caring individual, immediately all your guy friends suggest that maybe, just maybe, you wanna suck a dick. Oh, it's brutal. Even if you do something smart, right? Like it's raining out, he's got an umbrella. What a fag! Oh my God! What are you, afraid of the water? Put your shoulders up, you fucking homo. Jesus Christ! Would you pull that thing out of your ass? Oh, it's brutal. It doesn't even have to make sense. You carved a pumpkin? What do you do next? Carve some guy's ass with your cock? What a fag! What are you gonna blow a scarecrow? Dude, get away from me with your gay little pumpkin. Oh, it's brutal. Dude, what are you, a fag? Is the reason why guys drop at 55 out of fucking nowhere. It's literally from 5 decades of just suppressing the urge to like hug a puppy admit a baby's cute, say you want a cookie, you just gotta keep pushing it down like, fuck that, I'm not sucking dick, I'm not sucking dick. Right? Yeah. No. And then one day you're in a Denny's and they forget to put bananas in your pancakes, you just have like an aneurysm and your head slams off that sticky table. And the last thing you hear before it all goes black is your friends go, he got bananas in his pancakes! What a fag! Oh my God, it wasn't sweet enough with the syrup, you fairy! Hey, bring another one over whole and shove it up his ass, right? Yeah, because it looks like a dick, right? It looks like a dick. Yeah, I thought it, then I said it. I'm awesome. Yeah. Ah.
Fun and educational. I am trying to educate myself more. I've reached that age where I need knowledge. I feel guilty about not knowing enough. You know, I had a good education, but I didn't make the most of it, I think. And I've even stopped watching trash TV. Now, when I'm at home, I watch hours and hours of Discovery Channel and History Channel. Hours, Discovery Channel, History Channel. Ask me anything about sharks and Nazis. Round of applause there for... They're not as bad as a lot of people make out. Sharks, I mean. Nazis, awful. Right? Sharks, brilliant. Amazing creature, okay? It can hone in on a floundering fish, right? See the vibrations that it picks up through electrical impulses, through sensors in its flank. It doesn't need its eyes, but contrary to popular belief, their eyes are very good, okay? But it can smell and taste the slightest human secretion of blood and sweat, 1 part in a billion from a mile away. A shark would have found Anne Frank like that. Nazis, rubbish. I've been to her house. It's tiny. Every day they went in. Okay, let's move on. Sarge, can we look upstairs today? No, there's no one down here. Move on. Sarge, what's that tapping? She had time to write a book, for Christ's sake. Well, it ends a bit abruptly and no sequel. Lazy. No, but... Not a traditional subject for comedy, the old Holocaust. But I will say something about the Holocaust, and I'm sticking my neck out here, but in my opinion, I blame Adolf Hitler. He was the ringleader. Old Adolf. That name's died out, hasn't it? He killed that dead, didn't he? No one's calling their kid Adolf nowadays. No little Adolfs going to school. Loads of Brads and Angelinas, but no... Look, you don't hear the teacher doing the register. Brad here, Angelina here, Adolf here. I do that quick so no one can take a picture of me doing that. No, but people make excuses for him. People say, oh, he was stupid, he was easily led, he didn't mean that. What do you mean he didn't mean that? They say, oh no, he was influenced by the political philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, right? Because Nietzsche wrote this paper talking about a Superman. He said, not all men are born equal. And Hitler misinterpreted this and went way too far with it. And think of that. You're a great scholar, you've done this work, and you get a call from the Führer. And the Führer goes, all right, Nietzsche. He goes, yeah, good, what do you want? He goes, just read your book. What do you think? Love it. Love all that, man and Superman, not everyone's equal, kill all the Jews. Sorry? Not everyone's equal, so kill all the Jews. I didn't write that. I read between the lines. I didn't mean that. That's terrible. You haven't been killing Jewish people, have you? What? Have you been killing Jewish people? Yeah. A few. How many?
6 million.
6 million? That's all, I won't do any more. Leave it at 6. That's terrible, I won't do any more. Stay for dinner? Well, I will, but be careful in future. I will. Are you writing any other books? Well, I am, but I'm scared to tell you about it. I won't do anything. What's your new book called? My new book is called The Gypsies. Do we need them, Mum? Cheers.
I wrote this bunch of Jew-hating stuff. I didn't intend to. I was over in Scotland. Every year in August in Edinburgh, Scotland, they have the Fringe Festival. It's the biggest arts festival in the world. It's a whole month long, and I'm there in August, and some jackass writer for the London Times, he's writing a story about anti-Semitism at the Fringe, and they had found a review of mine from earlier in the festival, this anti-Semitic guy, and where I had been quoted out of context, like, just a string of blurbs. He says shocking things like blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And one of the things I had said that he quoted was, I hate the Jews, which sounds anti-Semitic. So all of a sudden, I get thrown into his little piece of literature, and I had said it, yeah, without question, but I had said it like in a happy, fun-loving, Jew-hating way. There's no animosity. It wasn't even a bit of mine. It was just some aside when I was rambling about fucking Mel Gibson was in the news at that time, and I'm rambling about him being called anti-Semitic, going, why is he getting so much press? He's an actor. Who gives a fuck what he thinks? I need press. I hate the Jews. Give me press. And ironically, bam, 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 banging on the door. It's a fucking funny story. If you know me, if you guys have known me for a while, I've been doing this 17 years, and I could fill 3 CDs worth of just the Christian bashing alone I've done over my career. I've done Mormon bashing and Muslim bashing. I'll do more Scientology bashing once I have a stronger legal team, but... But it wasn't until this phone call that I realized I've never done any Jew bashing in my whole career. All the religion bashing I've done, I never fuck with the Jews. I'm like, what? How did they ever escape? And they do. In religion bashing, Jews never get fucked with because A, they don't have the aggressive recruiting policies that other religions do. They don't have billboards every 30 feet. Yeah, be a Jew or burn in hell. Jew God is watching you. They're not banging on your fucking door with pamphlets. We want to talk to you about Judaism. So they don't get shit for that. They don't get shit because they have that Holocaust sympathy they can surf on for another 15 years till the last survivor dies or till History Channel goes out of business. But and the Jews, to their credit, they don't have the history of atrocities that other religions have. They don't, because they fucking lost all the time. Sorry. But they don't, yeah. They're not like, the Muslims and Catholics. I've heard so many comics doing bits about this new pope. Oh, isn't it scary? This new pope used to be a Nazi? And you go, not when you look at their track records side by side. The Nazis versus the Catholic Church. The Nazis only lasted a dozen years and they got their ass handed to them in a high hat. Catholic Church has a far more prosperous and prestigious record of murder and torture and tyranny and oppression and nonsense, not to mention the kid fucking, and they're still around and more popular than ever. I'd be far more afraid to hear someone go, you know that new Nazi? He used to be a pope. No shit? I'm fucking out of here. That guy's dangerous.
So fuck the Jews. That's what I'm saying. I guess fuck the Jews. I'm sorry. I never said it over the course of my career, but fuck the Jews. Just for being a religion at all, you're as complicit as the rest in the retardation of human intellectual progress. Fuck you too. Fuck you. My brother's a Jew. My brother's a Jew, and I fucking fuck him too. I hate his guts for it. Not like I'm like hate level, but fuck, what do you think? He converted because the only humorless cunt in his life that would ever fuck him twice, he had to cave in and marry her. Because he's afraid to die alone, but he doesn't mind settling for less, and now they're together in a passionless swamp of a relationship. And they teach their kids that shit. See, the parents wouldn't have him if he wasn't converted to Judaism, because they're racist. And there's another reason to fuck the Jews. I don't like racists. Fuck you too, Jew. You're not good enough if you're not a Jew. Fuck you. Mostly I hate the Jews because they're wicked annoying. Can we agree on that? Really, they're wicked annoying. Listen, of all the religions I've been around, the Jews have a tendency to throw their Judaism into whatever conversation you're having. Any topic, whatever the subject. Whoa, that's funny because I'm a Jew. Oh, what? Oh, I have a typical Jewish mother. Did I say I grew up Jewish? Well, my Jew family had Jew. That's all I got to say. Jew. Why do you keep saying Jew? Why do you keep saying Jew? I'm at an airport bar with you. I have to talk to you, but can you stop reminding me that you're irrational in every third sentence? It's like people who are really into their astrological sign and they have to pitch that into whatever conversation you're having to define themselves. That's funny, I'm a Virgo. Here's my Virgo coming out again. You're gonna have to excuse me. I'm a bit of a perfectionist. It's because I'm a Virgo. No, it's because you're a douchebag and you've been busting my balls all day. It has nothing to do with your astrological sign or some alignment of the stars. It's because you're a shithead and it's time for you to take individual responsibility for who you are. Don't act like if your parents had fucked a month earlier, you'd be feeding me chili dogs and letting shit slide. You're an asshole. Be who you are. But I'm a Jew. We naturally carry a lot of guilt. It's a Jewish thing. No, it's a you thing. You, that fuckhead in that chair. It has nothing to do with Judy. If you have guilt, maybe you're weak of character. Maybe you're fucking guilty of something. I don't know. Maybe you just stole that bottle of Jaeger out of my freezer. And but it has nothing to do with some ancient tribe of blah, blah, blah. That's not attached to your DNA, right? By the same logic, we all come from apes. But I don't throw ape in every conversation. Use ape to define myself. Use ape as an excuse to defecate in my thumbless mitt and then hurl it at you. I'm sorry, did I just splatter you with wet feces? I'm sorry, I have a very rich ape upbringing, a strong ape heritage. I'm an ape. So I'm really worthless as an individual. Anybody who defines themselves solely on their race or their religion or their nationality, if that's the first thing out of your mouth, well, what are you all about? Well, if that's the first thing on your MySpace page, well, I'm an Irish American, blah, blah, what the fuck is that? Well, you got nothing else. Community college and something else, but you use that fucking trivia because you got nothing to say. Useless.
Oh, some people don't like you to talk like that. Oh, some people would like to shut you up for saying those things. You know that. Lots of people, lots of groups in this country want to tell you how to talk, tell you what you can't talk about. Well, sometimes they'll say, well, you can talk about something, but you can't joke about it. Say you can't joke about something because it's not funny. Comedians run into that shit all the time. Like rape, they'll say, you can't joke about rape. Rape's not funny. I say, fuck you, I think it's hilarious. How do you like that? I can prove to you that rape is funny. Picture Porky Pig raping Elmer Fudd. See, hey, why do you think they call him Porky, huh? I know what you're gonna say. Elmer was asking for it. Elmer was coming on to Porky. Porky couldn't help himself. He got a hard on. He got horny. He lost control. He went out of his mind. A lot of men talk like that. A lot of men think that way. They think it's the woman's fault. They like to blame the rape on the woman. Say, hey, she had it coming. She was wearing a short skirt. These guys think women ought to go to prison for being cock teasers. Don't seem fair to me. Don't seem right. But you can joke about it. I believe you can joke about anything. It all depends on how you construct the joke. What the exaggeration is. What the exaggeration is. Because every joke needs one exaggeration. Every joke needs one thing to be way out of proportion. Give you an example. You ever see a news story like this in the paper? Every now and then you run into a story that says some guy broke into a house, stole a lot of things, and while he was in there, he raped an 81-year-old woman. And I'm thinking to myself, why? What the fuck kind of a social life does this guy have? I want to say, why did you do that? Well, she was coming on to me. We were dancing and I got horny. Hey, she was asking for it. She had on a tight bathrobe. I say, Jesus Christ, be a little fucking selective next time, will you? Now, speaking of rape, you know what I wonder? I wonder, is there more rape at the equator or the North Pole? These are the kind of things I think about when I'm sitting home alone and the power goes out. I wonder, is there more rape at the equator or the North Pole? I mean per capita. I know the populations are different. Most people think it's the equator. I think it's the North Pole. People think it's the equator because it's hot down there. They don't wear a lot of clothing. Guys can see women's tits. They get horny and there's a lot of fucking going on. That's exactly why there's less rape at the equator, because there's a lot of fucking going on. You can tell there's a lot of fucking at the equator. Take a look at the population figures. Billions of people live near the equator. How many Eskimos we got? 30? 35? No one's getting laid at the North Pole. It's too fucking cold. Guys say to their wives, hey, tonight, honey, huh? Tonight, huh? Are you crazy? The wind chill factor is 300 below. These guys are deprived, they're horny, they're pent up. Every now and then, they bust out, they gotta rape somebody. Now, the biggest problem an Eskimo rapist has, trying to get wet leather leggings off a woman who's kicking. Did you ever try to get leather pants off of someone who doesn't want to take them off? You would lose your heart-on in the process. Up at the North Pole, your dick would shrivel up like a stack of dimes. That's another thing I wonder. I wonder, does a rapist have a hard-on when he leaves the house in the morning? Or does he develop it during the day while he's walking around looking for somebody? These are the kind of thoughts that kept me out of the really good schools. Now I probably got the feminists all pissed off at me because I'm joking about rape. Feminists want to control your language. Feminists want to tell you how to talk. And they're not alone. They're not alone. I'm not picking on the feminists. They got a lot of company in this country. There's a lot of groups, a lot of institutions in this country want to control your language. Tell you what you can say and what you can't say. Government wants to tell you some things you can't say because they're against the law. Or you can't say this because it's against the regulation. Or here's something you can't say because it's a secret. You can't tell him that because he's not cleared to know that. Government wants to control information and control language because that's the way you control thought. And basically that's the game they're in. Same with religion. Religion is nothing but mind control. Religion is just trying to control your mind, control your thoughts. So they're going to tell you some things you shouldn't say because they're sins. And besides telling you things you shouldn't say, religion's going to suggest to you some things you ought to be saying. Here's something you ought to say first thing when you wake up in the morning. Here's something you ought to say just before you go to sleep at night. Here's something we always say on the third Wednesday in April after the first full moon in spring at 4 o'clock when the bells ring. Religion is always suggesting things you ought to be saying. Same with political groups of all kinds. Political activists, anti-bias groups, special interest groups are going to suggest the correct political vocabulary, the way you ought to be saying things, and that's where the feminists come in.
Now, as I said, I got nothing against the feminists. In fact, I happen to agree with most of the feminist philosophy I have read. I agree, for instance, that for the most part, men are vain, ignorant, greedy, brutal assholes who've just about ruined this planet, who've just about ruined this planet because they're afraid someone might have a bigger dick out there somewhere. Men are basically insecure about the size of their dicks, and so they go to war over it. You don't have to be a political scientist or a history major to see the bigger dick foreign policy theory at work. It goes something like this. What? They have bigger dicks? Bomb them. And of course, the bombs and the bullets and the rockets are all shaped like dicks. I don't understand that part of it, but it is part of the equation. So I agree with that abstract, that males have pushed a technology that just about has this planet in a stranglehold. Mother Earth, raped again. Guess who? Hey, she was asking for it. I also happen to like it when feminists attack these fat-ass housewives who think there's nothing more to life than sitting home on the telephone, drinking coffee, watching TV, and pumping out a baby every 9 months. Will 7 be enough, Bob? But what's the alternative? What's the alternative to pumping out a unit every 9 months? Pointless careerism? Pointless careerism? Putting on a man-tailored suit with shoulder pads and imitating all the worst behavior of men? This is the noblest thing that women can think of? To take a job in a criminal corporation that's poisoning the environment and robbing customers out of their money? This is the worthiest thing they can think of. Isn't there something nobler they could do to be helping this planet heal? You don't hear much about that from these middle-class women. I've noticed that most of these feminists are white middle-class women. They don't give a shit about black women's problems. They don't care about Latino women. All they're interested in is their own reproductive freedom and their pocketbooks. But when it comes to changing the language, I think they make some good points. Because we do think in language. And so the quality of our thoughts and ideas can only be as good as the quality of our language. So maybe some of this patriarchal shit ought to go away. I think spokesman ought to be spokesperson. I think chairman ought to be chairperson. I think mankind ought to be humankind. But they take it too far. They take themselves too seriously. They exaggerate. They want me to call that thing in the street a person-hole cover. I think that's taking it a little bit too far. What would you call a ladies' man? A person's person? That would make a he-man an it person. Little kids would be afraid of the boogie person. They'd look up in the sky and see the person in the moon. Guys would say, come back here and fight like a person, and we'd all sing for It's a Jolly Good Person. That's the kind of thing you would hear on Late Night with David Letterperson. You know what I mean? So I think it's an exaggeration, and I like to piss off any group that takes itself a little bit too seriously. And it does not take a lot of imagination to piss off a feminist. All you gotta do is run into Now Headquarters or Ms. Magazine and say, hey, which one of you cute little cupcakes wants to come home and cook me a nice meal and give me a blowjob? Blowjob! Oh, that pisses them off. You want to piss off a feminist? Call her a cum catcher. That'll get her attention. Ah, don't act disgusted. Don't act disgusted. Half of you are going to go home and go down on each other tonight, remember? If you're willing to swallow cum, let's not make believe something I said was disgusting, okay? Huh?
Having children is a big responsibility, and I've never really done very well at it. I've made a lot of mistakes, some of them big, some of them small, you know? Like, I'm still a person, I still am an idiot, you know? Still, like, I got high one night, I got really high, because I don't do drugs, I never do drugs, never. So that when I do, they're way more fun. To me, that's my best advice about drugs. If you want to enjoy drugs, never do them. Never. Because then when you do, they're actually fun. Because when drugs are part of your life, they're just another pain in the ass in your life. It's just, my drugs suck. I don't want to have that problem. I always want to be that person where it's a new thing. Somebody's like, hey, you want to try this? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I should. It's crazy. I don't even know how to do it. I mean, what is this? Anyway, I got my friend had the little vape. I'm a little worried, honestly, by the young people with the vaping and they just do this and then they just vape and they just stand on the corner and puff and look at the fucking thing. And I miss you. That's what it is. I miss you people because you used to stand around like this, and I get to go fuck that one, and that was okay. But now I don't even. I'm just looking at the top of people's heads now. But I didn't realize how, like, my friend. I have a younger friend who vapes, and she told me it's just to kind of like calm down. She's like, I barely feel it, you know? Sometimes it helps me sleep. So one night we're hanging out, and I'm like, I'm gonna go home and go to sleep. Maybe I'll just try it. So I took one little tiny hit. I was insane. I was completely insane. I was in my house. I couldn't even walk past the window. I had to go under the windows because I was afraid of the inside of my own brain. So I started texting people, just texting. I'm so high. I'm so fucking high. I'm so high. And I texted, to another friend. I'm so high. I want to suck the pot jizz out of my own dick and get higher. That's what I wrote. I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you that's what I wrote. And I sent it. And then later I looked at my text and I was like, I think I might have sent that to my 12-year-old daughter. I think it's possible. And I didn't, but I too easily could have. Now my kids are in my phone. There needs to be some very reliable firewall that says these numbers are much harder to text. That you can't just, whoops, traumatize her irreversibly. That you can go like, to write to these numbers, I have to solve the Hellraiser puzzle, and I have to, there's two guys with the keys at the opposite room that turn them at the same moment, and there's a warning, are you sure you want to send this picture of your pubic hair to your ex-wife's mother? That's how you want to break the silence 6 years since the divorce. This is my pubic hair. Look at all of my pubic hair. How have you been?
It's too much pressure. That's my problem. I can't handle pressure. Sometimes pressure make me talk different. I'm serious. You ever have like that social pressure? You ever talk to somebody who's fake and they make you fake? Like, they come to you like, hey, how you doing? You're like, fine, how are you? And you're like, I don't even talk like that. I get sick of that shit. I do, it just makes me sick. Sometimes I'll talk crazy just to make myself feel better. You ever do that? Just start talking like crazy. Like, you ever hear this voice? Man. That's how bad guys used to talk in the 40s. In the old days. See, I talk like that. Not all the time, but if somebody put the pressure on me, fuck it, I gotta cut loose. If the police pull me over, I'll talk crazy. Son, do you know why we pulled you over? Nah, because I'm black, see, that's right. Nah. I'll do it. It's not illegal to talk like that. How do they know I don't talk like that every day? Stop talking like that. Stop talking like white copper. Nah. That's how I talk, see? You gotta make life interesting like that, because the shit is flimsy. Life is flimsy. You think you're gonna live forever, you ain't not gonna live forever. It's dangerous out here. We know what's going on. I travel now, I used to think DC had the roughest ghettos in the country. Nah, nigga, I have seen some shit now. Oh, there's some rough areas outside of DC. Yeah, everybody should go to the ghetto. I was taken to the ghetto one time. That's the worst. When you get taken and you're not expecting to go. Usually you want to know when you're going to the ghetto, like, I'm going to see some wild shit. I got to prepare myself. I'm going to see something crazy. When you're taken, it's different. I had a limousine driver. It was after a show. It was late at night. It was like 3 in the morning. Had a limousine driver. He was a nice guy, talking to me and shit. Oh, hey, where you from, dog? D.C.? Word? That's a rough city, man. And his cell phone started ringing. Hold on 1 second. Hello? Oh, what's up, nigga? What? What the fuck? Slow down. What? What the fuck? No! 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 Fuck that, nigga. Fuck it. I'm on my way. Hey. I gotta make a stop real quick. At 3 o'clock in the morning. I didn't know he was taking me to the Ghetto at first. I started looking out the window. I was like, what the fuck? It's gun store, liquor store, gun store. Where the fuck you taking me? This don't look good. He didn't say shit. He just pulled up in front of an old rickety building that looked like a project. Now, I'd never been there before. I'm not sure if it was a project, but it certainly had all the familiar symptoms of a project. A fucking crackhead ran this way. And then another one jumped out of a tree and shit. And I said, I'll be right back. And left me. Took the keys with him and just left me. At 3 o'clock in the morning, in front of a project, in a fucking limousine. This was not good. I was like, man, I gotta look around and see if I can see some landmarks and figure out where I'm at. Might have to escape on foot. Now, this is when I knew I was in a bad neighborhood. You only see this in the worst neighborhoods. Remember, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I look out the window. It was a fucking baby standing on a corner. Look at this. And the baby didn't even look scared. He was just standing there. I mean, it made me sad. It made me sad, really. You know what I mean? Because I wanted to help the baby. I was like, I don't trust you either. I'm sorry. Click. Click. The old baby on the corner trick, eh? You're not gonna fall for that shit. Where's this limousine driver? You know, I start feeling bad. As time goes by, I start feeling worse. Like, man, what is wrong with me? What the hell's wrong? I'm scared of a baby. And this baby could be in trouble. He might need my help. I gotta do something. But I wasn't gonna get out the car. I'm serious, man. I just cracked the window a little bit. There's an old limousine. I could roll it down. Hey, baby. Baby, go home, man. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. What the fuck are you doing up? The baby said, I'm selling weed, nigga. I said, oh, shit. I wasn't expecting that. I'm serious. I had to buy 2 bags from him to calm my nerves. Let me get two coins. Got back in the car and rolled me a joint, man. So, that shit was scary, man. Every once in a while, like a crackhead would come up to the car and look in the window. It was like Jurassic Park and shit. He'd be looking on the car. Hey, get out of here, cracky. That baby was still standing there, man. Then I started feeling bad again. Yeah, weed make you feel guilty sometimes, you know. Man, what is wrong with me, man? I have just bought weed from an infant. I can't condone this kind of behavior. What am I thinking? I can't let the fear ruin my morals. Gotta do something. Hey, baby. Stop selling weed, all right? You got your whole life ahead of you. He said, fuck you, nigga. I got kids to feed. I said, God damn. Sam. And just at that very moment, one of the crackheads was running across the street and got hit by a car. I know it was a hit and run.
The police did it. That's all right. They sprinkled some crack on him. He got back up.